Your hosts, Millie Rouge.
And I'm Marissa Kay, your other host.
And together we make up the band Vienna Whyte from Edmonton, Canada. This roundtable is a YEG music production. Marissa, could you start us off today by introducing us to the great, amazing guests that we have on today?
Absolutely. So we have Lucas from Stick-a-Bush. We have Up Close Band. Sara Filipova.
Hey.
And Marcel Kaiser.
Hey.
Awesome. So welcome to the show, everyone. Today we're so excited to have you on. I myself want to learn a little bit more about you guys as musicians, and I know our audience will as well. So I want to start off with Sara. Can you kind of give us, in about a minute or less, an explanation of how you kind of came into the music world?
Well, I'm a singer-songwriter. I've been making music basically all my life. I've studied jazz singing and twice actually. And yeah, that's how I started as a kid with music school. And then at some point I was singing a lot of different things. And 2 years ago, I decided to go all in on the stuff I'm writing. So that's what I'm doing now.
That's fantastic. And Marcel, can you give us your kind of intro into music?
Yes, I just have to say I'm not the best in English, but I try my best. I was always inspired from the really start as a kid by other artists. And yeah, I was singing before I was able to speak. There was a song in Germany and in Austria. It made boom, and it just goes dooby dam dam da dooby da ba dee dam. If you know the song, and there are no words in it, so I started to sing before I could speak, and that's till the day now it's the same.
That's amazing.
That's so cute.
So awesome.
That's great.
Now it's going to be stuck in her head all day.
Yes, absolutely.
So. Now, up close, you guys are a band. So can you tell us a little bit about how your band came to be?
So we started out as an acoustic duo in 2017. So we two met at a party and thought, why not? Just a really...
The party was insane.
Yeah, like drunk thing. And we started to write songs, went to the studio, put it on a like professional level, and released our first album. And our drummer and our bassist came to us with the productions, and that's how we got a band. And that's, yeah.
Awesome.
Basically
great journey so far.
Love it.
Yeah.
And Stick-a-Bush, how did your band come to be?
Well, we all met actually like a little bit more than a year ago in university, basically. So most of us, actually everyone but the singer, actually everyone but Benny is actually studying jazz on their instruments, saxophone, piano, drums, whatever. And yeah, we kind of met in university and we're talking about it. Oh yeah, we would love to have a band to play music for that makes people dance in a way, like, you know, just fun music, not only serious music, but like just, you know,
That's
kind
fantastic.
of how the whole idea arose. And then step by step, now we're here.
Here we are.
Still
Yeah,
looking
that's
for
awesome.
That's how we met too, is through
Yep.
university.
Yeah.
So love it.
Through a
Gotta
jazz-
study the jazz.
Jazz University. Yeah. That's where it's at. That's how you come to be. Awesome.
So, if you have not picked up on it yet, today we are doing music from Austria.
Yes.
Which is funny because it's our namesake.
Yes.
Well, not Austria, but Vienna.
Vienna.
Particularly.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're going to jump right into it.
Awesome.
So our first question here is mostly about the capital. So Vienna is often referred to as one of the music capitals of the world. Do you find that there's a lot of local interest in the Vienna music scene from Viennese people, or do you find it more popular with tourists and outsiders?
So we'll start this off with Sara, and then we'll go in that order we talked about.
I think it's very mixed and it depends kind of on the genre. But I think the city is very alive. It's around the world, it's most known for its classical music, of course. So there's a lot of interest there. I think from both sides, but it's definitely something where it's kind of a tourist attraction too. Though I enjoy it, it's not only tourists, but there's a lot of other things going on. So I guess it mixes up, or that's my impression.
Yeah. And would you say, just a quick question I just thought in my head, would
Yeah.
you say that tourists like to listen to the classical music more, or do they like to listen to different genres? Lucas up
Lucas
there
is
is
I
like,
think it
Yeah,
I think it really depends, like
Yeah.
what you're up to. But I like there are some things where you can get those packages where you're like, okay, you'll see all those sites, and on top of that, you'll get to see the classical, like some people performing Mozart in this and this building where he once went through or whatever, or where he stayed for some time. So I think it's not only a tourist attraction, but there is like a jazz clubs too, like one of the oldest, I think, in Europe. If yeah. So if you're up to that, of course you might want to check that one out because it's the oldest one there is in Europe. So why not go there?
well, I think, yeah, it comes down to exploring a little bit more, right? So,
Yeah.
Marcel, what do you think about this question? So just to kind of recap, we were asking, do you think that the Vienna music scene is more popular, or do you find that it's more popular with tourists?
So I have to say, I've the same as Sarah. I think it's very mixed, and my yes, I think it's just what the people see. Everyone sees it different, and I think that Austria and Vienna is a place where very difficult artists from time to time in every genres took their place, and it's just what you see. I think there's so many things and artists which are not known, and that's really bad.
I agree.
Yeah.
And how about for you guys up close? I know you probably don't play classical music, so what's kind of your take? Just from the tattoos.
No, they're just
I'm
like
taking a guess.
Strauss all the time.
So what do you think
But we
for
could try-
the
we
music
could
scene?
try to play classic music, but yeah.
So yeah, basically I agree with both of them. So it's really mixed up. So you have your local fan base, really many people, if you're promoting it right and stuff. But yeah, there are also a lot of tourists in Vienna that watch shows like that, and yeah, I think it's really mixed up, and that's really great.
Yeah. So Bush, when we asked that first question, you had quite the reaction there. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts kind of on the local music scene and the tourist scene.
First of all, I totally agree with everyone else, but then I still have to say that really classical music is one of the main attractions, like touristic attractions. I mean, there's like people dressed up as Mozart and Beethoven running
Yeah.
around everywhere, basically trying to sell tickets. So that's, I guess, I would say that is definitely a very, very strong part. Like especially the old stuff, especially Beethoven. Oh, sorry, Beethoven, Mozart, and all that stuff. I mean, it's mostly tourists, I guess, that consume it in Vienna, for example. But then on the other hand, obviously there's a really huge and diverse scene of all kinds of music, I would say, even styles of music which are not that much, not that widely spread around, maybe let's say like that. So especially in contemporary music, in contemporary improvisational music, classical or even jazz music, this kind of stuff, there is a lot going on here in Vienna, a lot to discover, and it's
I mean, that makes a lot of sense because, you know, there's so much music in that city. And, you know, it's obviously, like you've all mentioned, it's not just the classical. There's so many things going on in that city. So kind of a follow-up question, because there's so much variety in the genres offered in Austria, do you think there's more of an advantage trying to market your music just within Austria, or do you think international promotion is the way to be successful?
Ooh, tough one. um, I can just say what I'm trying to do, and I'm not sure if it's the right way. So it's more I'm trying both in a way. I'm trying to get some fan base here. I'm trying to, now it's, of course, it's a bit more difficult than it used to be, but I'm trying to get around a bit too. And getting around helps you again in Austria, because if you only play in the same places all the time, you know, people kind of notice. And if you've been to, I don't know, Portugal or the USA or wherever, it's kind of this wow moment. So I'm trying to stick to both.
And I just blanked on that. Sorry. Marcel, what about you?
Yes. So my songs are in German. So it's clear I'm German, Austrian, and a little bit in I don't know, in Switzerland. But I'm writing on my English songs too. So I try to go international soon, but I didn't release any international song now. So there will be my first release from my German songs in November. I didn't release anything till this day. So there will come so much. And for my feeling, it's I'm Austrian artist. And today I just have the feeling I'm not going international with my music, but I think I'm going international with my personality this day. Maybe one day I will go with my music. We'll see.
I love that idea of going
That's
international
so
with your
cool.
personality.
Yeah. And I
That's
mean,
cool.
technically, all
Yeah.
of you are being international
I'm
now.
Austrian artist, but
Yeah.
I'm writing on my Instagram. I'm writing it in both languages because I got many to say as an artist and from my personality, and I want to make it clear to everyone in this world, and not just only in Austria.
Cool. Cool.
Do you
Yeah.
guys, yes, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, we totally agree with Sarah. You really have to stick up with your local fan base, so you keep them updated, but also try to reach for new fans, international fans, and yeah, we definitely write in. So we write in English, so we definitely want to go international, and yeah, it all comes from the hearts, and we try to write music that people can identify with. So yeah, and that's for everybody on this world, and that's the idea of our songs, and so we try to promote it international.
Nice.
Yeah, because it's interesting, because I've always thought that because Austria is such a music heavy country, that it might be a little bit more like it might be easier to just promote your music because there's so much interest already. But it's interesting that everybody, yeah, I saw Marcel's kind of shaking his head. Really? Really? You don't find that there's a
Really
lot of
hard
like
in
local
Austria.
interest?
It's really hard in Austria.
Yeah.
And I can say this because I'm a newcomer this year, 2020. I made music my whole life, but as a really artist, I just started this year, and it's really hard during this Corona and everything. It's really hard, and it's really hard just to find a label to promote and release your songs. It's really hard.
Yeah, that's true. We all do that by ourselves. So we all release it by any distributor on the internet, and really try to reach as many people as we can. And yeah, as you said, in Austria, it's pretty hard to reach the people and get them with your stuff, especially when you're playing rock music like we do.
Yeah, Lucas, you look like you had something to say as well.
Yeah, I mean, for us as a reggae band, as you said, as you referred to it with the rock band, the reggae scene in Austria is so small, and like Austria actually is quite small. So obviously, I guess all of us are somehow aiming international as possible somehow.
Yeah.
So I would, yeah, that's kind of my answer to the question.
Yeah, you kind of have to go international.
Yeah, exactly. There's not much to get like here in Austria. Yeah, you can get an Austrian Music Award. Oh, nice.
Silent fear. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're kind of similar to that in Canada too. Like a lot of people flock to Toronto expecting, it's easier because there's more opportunities, but sometimes
it's so saturated that it's hard to get your footing. So I'm surprised, but also not surprised. I guess it's just that's interesting.
Can you do the next one?
Yeah. So do you ever, I mean, this would be a great question for Marcel in particular, because you've touched on this before. But do you find yourself torn between writing and performing music in German or the Viennese dialect, or in English?
So my personality is, I'm from Austria and I'm speaking German the whole day. So I'm feeling it more myself on German, because I'm writing what I think, and I don't think in English. So for me, it's better to sing in German, but I feel it in English too. It depends. I can't say it. I don't know. If that was the right question you told me.
Yeah, of course. And we're always curious about that. Lucas, you look like you had something to say as well.
Said you'll find out. I told him you'll find out.
Yeah.
Just go ahead and you'll find out whatever feels more comfortable.
That's a great point.
Sure.
Yeah, that's completely fair.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I personally think that writing in English is much easier, because you need less words to say what you want to say.
Yes.
Like in German,
that's true.
German, like you have like that big of a sentence, like I don't know what to say. and in German and in English it's like that.
That's true, but I try every time, much times I try many times I tried to write my German songs in English, to transform it, to do it both ways, the same song. That was my idea 6 months ago, but my problem was I was not able to tell my story in the English version. So I don't like that, because when I write a song, I want to tell my story, and that was not able in English every time. So I started now to write own English songs, different songs about the same feelings, but not the same song.
Yeah, totally.
It was really hard.
Yeah.
So it's really more just about being able to express yourself more than anything. It's like whether you write in German or whether you write in English, it's mostly just about expressing yourself.
Definitely.
Interesting.
I think so.
And it's interesting because, like, do you find that, how do your English songs do versus your German or Viennese dialect songs do with, like, the local scene? Do you find the English songs do better or the German songs?
I find both do it well, but yeah, it's hard to tell my story as deep as in German, because I don't have the words in English. I can speak English. I learned it in school, but to describe my feelings, I don't have to write words in English. And I could sit there and with the Google Translator, and then I could, if I want to, I could sit there and just see which words are rhyming. So I could write many songs in English, but for me, it's better not to sit just there and see what words are rhyming, because I definitely not sit there to write songs. It comes from myself. There are 2 weeks sometimes where no song is coming out of me. And then I just have situations sitting in my car, driving just 1 kilometer at home. And I have 3 songs in my mind, and I'm writing 3 songs.
Yeah.
Yeah, up close, you guys look like you had something to say to that as well.
Yeah, I totally agree. It just depends on in which language you feel good in. So just get it out there in which language you ever want to. So yeah.
Yeah, it's not always easy to find the right words. I also think in German, and I always try to translate it in English to make a song, a whole concept.
Would be weird if not.
Yeah.
Yeah, but translating a song from German in English is pretty
Not
hard.
easy.
As a
It's tough.
It's really hard one for me. That's
Very hard.
not possible. So I have to rewrite it with the same kind of things that and components in the song, but
It's a whole,
not really translated.
Another.
I think you guys all know Nena.
Yeah.
Anywhere, anytime, irgendwo, irgendwann.
Yeah.
She did it in both ways, and I tried that because my music is the same style, but just not in the old-fashioned way, just in the new.
Yeah.
It's like pop
yeah,
music, Nena with a touch of the 80s.
Yeah. Cool.
Just about my feelings, and I tried it both ways, but to the day it was not it was just not yeah, it didn't work,
I can't
I
relate.
guess.
Definitely tricky.
I like that thought of like thinking in German and then having to translate it into English. It's funny because like I think one of the only German words I've learned was Schmetterling, and that means like butterfly, and it's my favorite German word, and I can't tell you why, but I can only knowing that word trying to like rhyme Schmetterling with something else. I'm like, I don't know how you would do that. So
that'd be really tricky.
Incredible that you guys are able to translate and do those kinds of songs.
I have one question now. Don't you know the word Scheiße?
I don't want to know what it means.
I don't know if I want to know what it means.
And now we're swearing.
It's
Lady Gaga wrote a song about it.
Oh, did she?
Yeah, she did.
We need to listen to that song, apparently.
Yeah, you need to listen to the song. She sings Scheiße.
Oh my gosh, amazing.
It means shit in German.
Oh my gosh.
Well, Sarah, did you want to add something as well to that?
I just thought about myself. I'm writing in English too, but I've tried, I'll just say both versions of German, like the dialect thing and the written way. But when I'm writing, I don't think in German, actually. I think in English. That's kind of, I never translate. No, definitely not. But I'm reading a lot in English, and I'm like movies. I always try to read whatever I can in the original language or watch it in the original language, because I think with every translation, some of the fine nuances just get lost. So
yeah,
that was kind of interesting to hear, the thought of translating, because I kind of didn't think about that much.
That's really interesting. I have a kind of a follow-up question again to the music scene a little bit more. And especially because I know we were talking very briefly about the coronavirus and kind of how it's affected just music in general. So where do you guys see the Austrian music scene going in the next few years? Do you think that there'll be more mainstream artists coming out of Austria? Do you think there'll still be the possibilities of live shows? What are your kind of predictions, if you will, of what will kind of happen to Austrians' music scene?
I think it will depend on the virus now, very clear. Because if there are no concerts, it will definitely go on the electronic way. So live streams, Instagram. You'll see since yesterday there's a shop on Instagram where you can buy something, and I think the musician way is going the same. So I believe that you can, if nothing changes the next year, I believe in that you can buy concert tickets and watch it via live stream. I think that's able.
You can still buy
Yeah.
concert tickets.
Yeah, it's pretty tough right now. So actually, we mustn't complain because we are able to play a few shows right now. So but they are acoustic shows, and like with very few people, or in a restaurant, like live music with eating and stuff. But the real shows, like with crowded people and the energy you get out of that, that's not possible right now, sadly. But we won't complain about the situation because we are making the best out of it, and
That's
hope to
great.
get back to the real shows,
Big shows.
the big shows soon, as soon as possible, hopefully next year. And yeah, but the thing with the online concerts, I believe that we have to do something like that soon. So yeah, I believe in that too. So or like you do it like that, you buy a ticket for a concert, and you get a refund, like half the price, but you still have the online tickets if the concert is canceled. That would be a possibility in my opinion.
Yeah.
That would be
I
great.
guess we all need to wait how things develop. But one positive thing I saw in the last couple of months is that some radio stations who didn't play much Austrian music just played much more than they used to do. In Vienna, we were super lucky. Like the city of Vienna organized 800 concerts around the whole city where people could go in for free and the musicians would get paid. So that's like, I think we were really lucky in this case to have some opportunities to play live, and that there were some ideas on really short notice because there were always changes, always new rules to keep to, some prevention concepts to think of, and people just try to not give up and just keep cultural life alive. So I think in this case I see some, but like today some of the new rules which are coming first from Sunday on just came out, so everything is again, nobody knows how it's going to go on, and there's so many things unclear and how long we have to go like this, but we will see.
Yeah, but even still, it sounds like things are going pretty well, at least compared to where we are.
Yeah, we've got a supportive country.
So, long story short, we'll be there soon. So just wait for us. We'll be coming.
I think that's what the Bush wanted to.
Yeah. So Lucas, did you look like you had something to say as well?
Well, yeah, referring to the streaming stuff, that's true. The streaming is definitely gonna rise now. Like there's more. Like I played my bachelor concert last week, and it was live streamed online. While my parents couldn't be there, they're in Germany, so they watched it on a live stream. And that is definitely gonna, I don't know, it's not gonna stop. And in Porgy and Bess, for example, the club that we were playing in here in Vienna, the streaming is like they charge you $5 or something to watch the stream, and then the concert to go there and watch it would be 25 usually. So I guess that thinking about humans in general, people might switch to the online thing a lot. But then on the other hand, I also feel like, or at least I'm hoping deep inside, like that people kind of realize that they actually want to go out and see live music and to have that whole, the whole experience of a concert is way more than just the music, as we probably all know. And so I guess there will be way more streaming in the future. There will be way more streaming. But then I guess on the other hand, there will probably also be a very strong live scene in the future.
We hope
Oh,
so.
we
I don't know. I
sincerely
just
hope so.
but it's really, really impossible to actually predict anything for the future now, because the situation is kind of weird. Let's just call it weird.
Yeah, I mean, that's one way to put it. That's very mildly putting it.
Very
weird. Now, I apologize if I pronounced this terribly. I did try my best with writing down the pronunciation. So if you can speak to it, can you give us some context and background to Viennese? Did I say that right? I think I said it right.
Yeah,
Viennese,
you said it right.
and how it
Sara,
contributes
you
to Viennese music history. A history pop quiz.
Yeah. If you don't know, it's okay. You don't have to answer. It's all good.
I'm not from Vienna.
I know, that's okay. Sorry, Sara, go ahead.
It's just, I was just thinking about some of the songs which I know, and I think those would be one of the toughest to translate. It's like, I don't know. I really like them because they have this very special spirit to it. I don't know how to describe it better. They bring this certain feeling, and they always incorporate some figures of speeches, which some people don't even use anymore, but it's very interesting. And I think it has a huge influence on some of the people who are making music now too, or some even kind of try to keep this tradition in a way going, but with more modern things around. But yeah.
Well, and how would you describe these for people who don't know what they are?
I
how would you? Yeah, you don't know because I researched
idea.
it. How would you describe them to people who are like, "What is Viennese?"
Oh, there's so many of them. So. Guys, do you have any ideas?
The first things coming in my head is definitely Falco. So all the songs of Falco are coming in my head because he did this traditional Austrian touch in his songs, but singing it even in English, I think, and that was going in America on the charts. Top 1, I think.
Yeah, but
so I think Wiener Lieder.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know.
Go ahead.
Think Wiener Lieder. I mean, I don't know. I don't know necessarily if Falco would be. If I would consider Falco as the Wiener Liedermacher. I think more of Wiener Lieder in general as that the music. People back in the day sitting in the Vienna Beisels around and talking about how shit life is and how beautiful it is at the same time, and basically that's how I think about it.
So really no different from now is what we're saying.
In a certain way, yeah, maybe, but yeah, pretty much the same. Maybe there was just a bigger tradition.
Yeah, it's I feel like it's music for describing certain situations in a super easy way. I don't know how to say that, but that's like it feels. It's just, yeah, that's a tough one. That's a really tough question.
I think you could think
stumped them.
I think it's almost like you could describe it as folk music in a way, but just it's most of the things where things are happening in the songs, they're placed in Vienna, or there's some references to whatever happened at that time. There is romantic ones, there's those where you're like complaining, but I think you could describe it as maybe folk music in a way. Most of the time there would be like an accordion along with it and a guitar.
I just have to say, I think I didn't understand the question before.
That is all good. No worries. Don't even
Lost.
worry about it.
Happens.
We'll call it
good.
Lost in Translation. Sorry about that. But we actually have a question from Reddit here. So
Yeah,
Lily, would you
I was
like to
gonna read
read that
out.
question?
Yeah. Somebody asked.
SAJ237.
Yeah, that's their username. What are some good places to start for someone who knows nothing about Viennese music except for Mozart? So where would you kind of guide them for Austrian music?
First counter question is, what kind of music are you interested in?
Yeah.
Definitely. Like, there's just too much to check out, and I don't know.
What are some of your guys' like favorites? We'll kind of steer it that way if they're interested.
Like the Chelsea Club and everything, Arena, Gasometer, like for the bigger bands, and like a bunch of clubs on it's called the Gürtel.
Yeah, like Chelsea, for example.
That's basically where we go.
B72
B72
is also good.
Yeah.
Perfect. So there you go, SAJ237. You have your answer.
Go to those venues.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we're going to do
Just
because
go
we
to
said
the
we wanted to
Gürtel.
go. So
Yeah.
But other than that, there is like a bunch of playlists on Spotify, for example, where you have like Viennese pop music or something like this, which have like a Vienna or an Austria theme. And there's a bunch of different bands inside. So you can just check it out and see what you like and then click through it.
ooh.
That's a great suggestion.
Yeah, we'll see if we can find those. We'll see if we can like pop
Yeah.
them in the description or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can send you some of those.
That would
be
be
Yes.
great.
Yeah.
Yay! And
will.
all of your guys' music is going to be on that playlist too, right? Like we want to make sure of that.
So I guess we have another follow-up question, kind of not talking about the music anymore, but let me see here. Just give me a sec. Sorry. Did you want to do that one? Sorry.
No, that's okay.
Okay. So obviously we talked about Vienna a lot, but there obviously are a lot of famous composers that came or that were based in Vienna. Now we've talked about technology as well. So do you feel that in a world of massive technology, do you feel that there's a need anymore to move to a different city to become more well known? So like we talked about in Canada, how artists move to Toronto to become famous or well known. Do you think with technology nowadays, do you think that's still necessary?
I kind of think like one of the reasons I moved to Vienna is, first of all, I really like the city. I love living here. The other thing is like what the up close guys told you about, like there is so many clubs and so many places you could go and just, watch live music or sessions or stuff like this. And then there is just a different feel of networking. Yeah. And since Vienna isn't that big, you kind of get to know people doing music quite quickly and from very different genres. And I think somehow, for me, sometimes it's easier when I meet people in person and, it's like this, oh, yeah, the guy who spilled the drink, or the girl who asked me about this and that, or who had this shirt, then I have some kind of connection in my head. But there are advantages to technology too, because you can just, get in touch like with you guys.
And I think it is really important just in general that if you want to play music and you want to, I don't know, if you want to achieve something with your music and you have a certain genre you play, you have to step in contact with a certain scene, with that specific scene. And I think that is, even now with the technology, just way more easy. And I don't know, I think it's actually not really possible to just do it you cannot really meet and get to know people the way you can do.
Yeah, so it's more about the networking than anything, and
Yeah.
like those personal connections.
Yeah,
Definitely.
definitely. So
Definitely.
again, the fan base is
Yeah.
Then the fan base,
pretty
obviously.
important, and you just can make a fan base if you go out there and meet the people. So most people have to know you personally, and then you can grow with social media and stuff, because otherwise it's pretty hard. In some cases it might be possible, but in most of the cases you have to be local, like a local artist that knows the people. And that is, yeah.
So, what are some things that you guys try to do as individuals, as artists? What are some things you guys try to do to grow that fan base? I mean, we found sort of a cool little niche on Reddit. That's kind of where we've been finding a lot of the people who keep coming back. We've found on Reddit, which is funnily enough, and we never realized that before. So so what are some things that you guys do individually to try to grow your fan base online?
Online.
Yeah, I'm doing social media, so I'm trying to reach more people. Sure, that's the one way. The second way is that I'm musician 24/7, but I don't have to do this because that's me, and everyone I get to know, or just the people who who are coming close to me, I tell them. I'm a musician, and I show them who I am with my music, and so I just try at every point I'm going to just split my music.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I appreciate your insight on that, because it's I feel like it's different for everybody. Even no matter like where you're from, it's always going to be different of how people are reaching people. Especially mentioning like being with people in person is honestly I found the best way to really get that connection.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if people meet you online, if you don't actually have like sit down and have this conversation, like the conversation that we're having right now, they'll just like your photo and move on. Whereas if you actually make that connection and talk with them, you have more of a chance of actually building a relationship with them.
True. True.
So could you describe, we talked about it a little bit, but if you had to describe what Austrian music venues are like, how supportive are the venues of the musicians who play there? Because I know there's some venues here in Canada that they'll hire musicians, but they won't, like there's only some, but they won't really care about you as a musician. They don't really care to promote the music a lot. They only care about how many butts you put in the seats or how many people you bring into the venue. So what's the relationship like there with music venues where you are?
I guess that's pretty much the same in a way.
It depends.
Yeah.
It it
Depends
really
on the music
depends on
you
the
do and the project you're trying to promote, and what, I don't know if it's another cultural project. There's lots of funding also from the city of Vienna. I don't know, but then also just to some few projects in general. I don't know. Just all over, the situation is pretty similar, I guess.
Yeah. Sara, you look like you also had something to say about that.
I think it really depends on the venue. There are some of those cultural, like where people are sitting and booking who are really into music, where it is more of it's just their passion, and they just book when they like something, they just book it because they like it. There is, and it really depends. Like there are those venues where you have to pay to play, which I'm not really a huge fan of, but it's getting a bit more. There are other venues where you have like deals where you can play, but you get kind of a percentage of what the bar is making or stuff like that. So it really depends on the venue. Some of the venues get some of the funding from either the state or the city, so they're able to maybe pay a bit more. doesn't matter how many people come, like even if there's less, but it's really very different.
So when you say certain venues get funding, is that like, is it a specific kind of venue that only gets funding, or is it a little bit of everything? Like how does funding work in Austria?
There are different kinds of funding. Well, now we're getting into a huge topic. There are different kinds of fundings. There are those which are like for musicians or for certain projects. Those projects can be like either something where some artists do something, or for organizers who make, like, let's say festivals or, you know, something like this. And you can apply it for different things, and sometimes there's a jury, sometimes you know, they pick whatever suits them best, or but there are a couple of ways to apply for funding. Many people apply, but sometimes you get lucky.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, we have a very similar
Long
thing
story
here in
short.
Canada. No, that's okay. Go ahead.
I don't think he's gonna say
Oh, okay.
That was I agree with the story. Long story short, that's
Yeah, long story
Yeah,
short.
I tried to keep it as short as possible
Perfect.
because we could go into depth, but I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, I completely get that. And have you ever applied for funding yourself?
I have like for and I will now. I'm working on my album, or I've been writing a lot the last summer, so my plans got a bit postponed, but I'm working on it, so I will apply definitely for some funding there too. If it works out, cool. If not, I'll figure something else out.
I know we applied for some funding, but actually I didn't do it, to be honest. I mean, we're a band of 7 people, so we kind of share the work and also the social media stuff. That's why I didn't answer earlier on the question. I'm not into the social media world that much, to be honest. Like, I don't even have Facebook or Instagram or anything myself.
Oh
So I
my
kind of
gosh,
use
you're
that.
like a unicorn. It's amazing.
so
Very rare is what I mean to say.
I kind of got that. Yeah.
we have kind of talked about our own versions of how we define our success. So I kind of want to move into this topic now. When it comes to your own careers and ambitions, how do you measure your success? And at what point in your career do you feel like you will have finally made it, so they say? So how do you define success, in your own opinion?
In my happiness. So if I'm happy, I'm successful. I think that's the clearest and shortest answer, and that was the first came into my head when you said that. I think if I got a lot of money and everyone knows me and I'm not happy, I think then I'm not successful. Or I maybe I was successful before, but I don't want it to be then. And I think to be successful is always bounded with being happy. Yeah.
Great answer.
So wholesome. I love it.
How about for you guys up close as a band? How do you guys define success when there's more than one member?
That's
You have to be happy.
yeah.
Like that.
Just like you said, there's nothing to add. It's
Yeah.
like being happy with what you do, and if you can make a living with it, it's perfect. So if there's enough money that you can get through, and you don't have to struggle with anything, and you're happy with what you're doing, going out on stage and enjoying what you do, I think that's the definition, like you said, of success.
We all 4 guys will have the same success. We wondered. What's this song?
He's thinking in German again.
The same direction. Fuck, English is so bad.
Yeah, and Sara, what about you?
thinking if there's something to add to this. In a way, I think I don't know if there is a certain point where I will ever say, yeah, now I'm super successful. It's more of, for me, it's more this just being on this journey and growing and learning and exploring and figuring things out and just keeping curious, kind of is really enjoyable for me. I enjoy spending my time this way, and slowly I think when it comes to, like, of course, if you can make a living out of it, and if there's some financial support, or if you can get something in that way out of it, that's great. And I'm trying, but it's I don't know if I for myself have this certain point where I'm like, when I have done this, then I'm successful. I kind of, yeah.
I think there's no limit. You can go through the limits and even bigger and bigger and bigger, and there are no limits. So if you have on your mind you will be on top there, then you're raising up and you're there, but you're not happy, I think, because you know at this point you can go even higher. So yeah, I think it makes no sense to just set any limit.
True that.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense, and it seems like the attitude towards music, at least from this small sample size that we have here, is very like humble, and I appreciate that so much, and I feel like that's something that that a lot of, or not a lot of musicians, but in certain areas of the world, you can see where the values lie more.
Yes.
So I like that all of you really value happiness.
Yeah.
Because that's huge, and I think that in today's world, it's hard to
remember that.
It's hard to remember that for sure, because we're also focused on getting likes and getting follows and all that, but it's more about just enjoying what you do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We've asked this question to different countries, so it's like you said, it's always interesting to hear the different responses. So,
and just kind of a follow-up question for this one. So when you mentioned being successful and happiness and kind of reaching to the next goal and the next goal, do you think that there's going to be more artists coming out of Vienna that are going to be, or not even just Vienna, but out of Austria, that are going to be more mainstream? Like, have you seen a lot of mainstream artists coming out of Austria, or do you think that now that we have this sort of foundation built online, do you think that we're going to see more mainstream artists come out of Austria?
I think it's really, in a way, there are some, but for most people I know who are more into mainstream music, let's call it that way, it's really tough because the focus, like internationally, the focus is not really that much in Austria and what's happening here. If you think of the huge markets, and more, if you think of Europe, it would be UK and Germany. There are some good developments though. There was two bands which kind of really hit across the borders too, and since then I think there is a bit more interest in what's going on over here, but it's still like, it's a small country.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, well, that was it was more just like a curiosity question, but I mean, I know I'm looking forward to the day where I see all of you guys headlining in Canada and US. It'll be amazing. We'll be in the front row. We'll be like, hey, we talked to them one time. Do you remember? So to finish off this roundtable, Millie and I really like to help our younger audience or older audience with some informative advice on becoming musicians, as we can only speak from a Canadian perspective. We can give our little pieces of advice and what we think that they should do. But what advice would you offer to anyone, any aspiring Austrian artist? So if someone said, I want to do music in Austria, or I want to do music in Linz or Vienna or wherever, where would you tell them to start?
Try to write down the music you
love.
feel and you love, and get it out there, and never give up. Just
Not think about that, only smash them out.
just put it out there in the world, and tell them, hey, this is me. Listen to my music, and never give up.
Yeah.
Never give up.
Go
That's
to some open stage events and this kind of stuff. I guess that's a good thing if you're on a solo project or something you're trying to promote. If you would want to play jazz or something, go out to sessions. I guess that's the most important thing. Just go out and play with people. Play with people and play for people. Play, 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 day in, day out. Check, check, check. No stop. That's the only advice, I guess. And then sometimes get back to your major scales and stuff. But
Only sometimes,
I got a tip too for all artists who want to go out. I think being special is very good for young artists. And I just want to say to you, being special is only able by being yourself, because nobody's like you. And that's a good start for young artists, because I'm a young artist too, and I went through this mutation because I tried so many ways which I liked, and nothing happened. And now I'm going my own way, and I would just want to say, try it as yourself.
I'll just say something which helped me quite a lot, or a thought which helped me. It was this kind of thought that at some point, there's always going to be those questions. There's doubting voice in your head, which kind of never stops. But at some point, you just got to start. So, and you just begin, and it's a journey. Like each gig you play, each release you have is like one moment of your journey, and then you go on, and it might sound different after a couple of years, and the first songs might not be the best you have written in your whole life, but that's okay, because you got to start at some point. And there's so many bands where the audio isn't great, or something is out of tune, but you still listen to the song just because it kind of grabs you. So just don't listen too much to the doubting voice in your head, and do it.
I definitely think that's probably the best advice I've ever heard from anyone, is just do it. You might not like it, but just do it. I appreciate that so much.
Yeah.
And if there's any Austrian artists watching right now, what would you tell them to do if they were going to start music up in their city? What would be the first thing you tell them to do when they're in a specific city?
I would say try to get a gig, but now it's a bit complicated.
I would say go to some session. Try to find a session.
But try, release. If you have a song ready, release it. Don't keep it in your pocket for 10 years and wait for the perfect moment, because it's really, I don't know if there is a perfect moment. Just share it with the world. Tell your friends about it. If you know somebody who writes for a newspaper or whatever, just reach out to people and try to get them aware of, hey, I'm doing something. And then from there on, just continue making people aware of, hey, I'm doing something.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think you've all made some really, really great points and things that I think lots of artists can consider, and hopefully it's helpful to them as well. So that was actually our last question for the day. We are out of time. But if you guys are at home watching this roundtable with Vienna Whyte on Twitch, or if you were watching on Reddit, make sure to follow us to be notified about all of our upcoming live shows and streams that are throughout the week. So if podcasts are more your style, or if you want to see this on YouTube, make sure to look up the Vienna Whyte podcast. So I'm Millie Rouge, one of your hosts.
I'm Marissa Kay, your other host. You can find our band on the internet at Vienna Whyte. Vienna, like the city, White spelled with a Y, because we're trendy. You can find us on Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, all that jazz.
Beautiful. So we're going to sign ourselves out. You guys are each going to individually tell us where our audience can find you. So Sara, can we start with you first?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram, on Facebook, all about jazz actually too. Under my name, Sara Filipova. I'm working on my album now. I released an EP last year and a song this year, and there's more to come soon.
Perfect. And Marcel, can you sign yourself out?
Yeah, I'm Austrian singer-songwriter. I'm Marcel. I'm doing German and English pop music, and you can find me on Tinder. Just swipe 1,000 times.
You're so
amazing marketing tactic. Oh my God.
Did I hear that right?
It's like marketing for Tinder, actually.
Yeah. That's amazing.
No, that was
What did I think of that?
I was just joking.
You
that was amazing.
Instagram. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Twitter, on Facebook. Marcel Kaiser official, or just Marcel Kaiser. You can find me, and yeah, have fun.
Thank you so much. And up close, where can we find your band?
Yeah, we are up close. You can find us everywhere on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube,
Spotify, Amazon Music.
Just
Me too.
type in Up Close Band. Up Close Band on Instagram, and from there you can go to our website, and there you can find Facebook and all other stuff.
It's all connected.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
And
We will
Lucas.
release a new
Whoa.
single soon.
Oh.
We were in the studio for
A few weeks
3-4
ago,
weeks ago.
so it's called Here's to the Lost, and
we
the
will-
release date will be announced soon, so
yeah.
check it out.
Fantastic. And Lucas from Stick Up Bush, can you sign your band out?
We are also obviously on Facebook, Instagram, and we have our homepage, stickerbushmusic.com. And we actually also have an announcement to do, which is we are dropping our first album in the next couple of weeks. We don't really know when exactly. We just recorded it also just a couple of weeks back. Excited. Check it out.
Wonderful.
And I forgot to say, I have a release in November, and so if you find my Tinder page, it will be my favorite song on my profile. So you can find my songs and on my Instagram and Facebook and anywhere.
That's amazing.
Oh, that's perfect.
Thank you so much.
So thank you guys so much for joining us for our Vienna Whyte Roundtable. We were so glad to have you all. We hope you have a wonderful weekend, guys.
You too.
Thank you. You too. Thanks for the invitation. Bye.